Hi, it's Steve Rode, your Get Out of Debt guy. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably want to learn more about money, credit, and debt, or you're one of the many good people out there with bad debt and you want it to go away. But stick with me. Together we can make that happen. Either way, I'm here for you, and I believe a better and more financially successful future is ahead. It can be within your grasp. I'd like to ask you for a favor. If you find this or any of my podcasts helpful, please take a moment and leave a review on the podcast platform you're listening on. Your feedback and opinion matter to me, and if I've done a good job, your review helps others to find the podcast as well. And while you're there leaving your review, don't forget to subscribe to the show so that you can be notified when the next episode comes out. Last piece of housekeeping. If you have a question or comment you'd like to hear on an upcoming podcast, you can leave me a voice message at getoutofdebt.org/message. Or leave me a question for me to answer on my website by going to getoutofdebt.org/question. Thank you so much for being a great listener, and I'm sending you a giant virtual hug in return. And now, on with the podcast. Hi, this is Steve Rode, your Get Out of Debt guy. This podcast has an unusual feature. Damon and I, when we recorded the podcast, also recorded our video to go with it. If you'd like to see the video and see our broken faces, you can go to getoutofdebt.org/118791. That's getoutofdebt.org/118791. You can see the video of this podcast as it was recorded. Hey, this is Steve Rode. I'm here with Damon Day for another Get Out of Debt Guy show. This week is a little bit different. You're listening to us on a podcast, probably, but we're also testing a new approach, which is online webinar. So you can actually see our faces when we're doing this, and we'll see how it works. You know, if it works well, then Damon, I'll share the link and I'll let you know how to find it. If it doesn't work well, it never happened. Okay. All right. You know, we've had a lot of people who have been listening to the show, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we decided to come back do it again. This week, or today, I want to talk about the offers that people are getting in the mail. They're getting these personal loan offers in the mail that look like you have credit problems, you're deep in debt, and you're going to get a personal loan. So I think we should talk for a minute about what to do if you get one of these offers. At first, it's exciting. You think it's going to be approved. What's reality, Damon?
Throw it away. Well, I have a general rule. Anything that you get, especially in the mail, unsolicited, that has to do with finances, you might as well just throw it away. I mean, you can look at it, you can investigate it, but if it's unsolicited, it's probably not going to be the best deal for you.
Well, that's a good point. So you get something in the mail, and if it's from somebody that has a product or service to sell, right, that is a sales offer you are being sold to. If you get something from your doctor about your test results, that's a factual statement.
Yeah. And you know, it's not that you automatically assume, you know, it's going to be a sales pitch. It doesn't mean it's horrible, but you just got to assume the majority of the stuff that you receive unsolicited in the mail is probably not going to be in your best interest. That's just the reality of it.
So what do? I open the mail, and the one I've got here in front of me actually says, you know, congratulations, you've been pre-approved. What does that mean, pre-approved?
That means you're pre-approved for something.
Yeah, you know, I always think it just means that you're pre-approved to get the offer.
You're pre-approved to call and get a sales pitch. That's
So you've got a lot of debt. You may be behind. You may have struggled a little bit. You get a loan offer in the mail, and it seems great. I'm going to lower my payment. It says I'm going to lower my payment. I'm going to cut my total interest rates in half, and it's all going to go away. No collateral, no balance transfers, no cash advance fees, low monthly fees. Tell me, how do I evaluate? What questions should somebody ask the salesperson when they call the toll-free number?
I don't know. That's probably more your department. The first thing I would ask is, who is the actual lending institution? Where am I getting the money from?
With these offers that are coming, a lot of them are just lead generators to sell some other type of debt relief service, whether it's debt settlement, debt resolution, debt verification, or something else that starts with the word debt. And what I always think that people should ask is, if you get my information and I don't qualify for the loan, can you provide any other assistance? If they say yes, that's what you really need to listen to, because sending somebody a magical loan offer where the majority of people get told, hold on, let me run this through underwriting. Oh, by the way, yeah, you didn't qualify, but we've got these other great things. For me, that should be a red flag.
Yeah, if you get like anybody in debt is going to get like offers from, Lending Club and Prosper and Lending Tree and some of those, companies that you hear about all the time. They're going to scour credit, reports and send, unsolicited offers. And those are typically, whether or not you qualify for them, those are actual loans. But when you start getting all these offers from companies you've never heard of, most of the time, that's what it is. It's essentially just a bait and switch where maybe there was a possibility of the loan, but I think in many cases, the possibility of a loan never even existed, no matter what your qualifications were. And like you said, it's just an advertisement. It's a mailer where you're going to call in and they're going to bait and switch you, where you think you're getting this awesome, wonderful loan that's going to lower your payments and lower your interest. And then they come back and they say, oh yeah, we might be able to qualify you. They use, psychological tactics, right? They get you all excited. You're going to get this loan. You're going to save all this money. And then they go smoke a cigarette and talk to underwriting and then come back and, oh, I'm so sorry, but because of your high debt to income ratio or your low FICO score, which are things that all these people have typically that are getting these mailers anyway. That's why they're getting targeted. They know that you're not going to have these, normal qualifications, and they're going to have a hard time getting a normal consolidation loan. So they kind of play on that and they say, oh, I'm sorry, you didn't qualify, but we have something else that actually would be a lot better. And then they go on to explain this weird Frankenstein thing that they're calling typically a consolidation loan. And they almost mask it like, there's this loan and it's going to be 0% interest and it's going to lower your payment and you're going to have all this debt paid off in 3 years. And the more you dig, it sounds great, but it sounds like it's better than the original consolidation loan that was offered. So why do I not qualify for the normal consolidation loan at 10%, but I qualify for this new fancy weird thing at 0% interest with lower payments? It doesn't make any sense. And that's because they're just baiting and switching you into a debt settlement program, but they're not really explaining what the debt settlement program is. The sales guy is pitching it like it's some weird loan that you pay no interest in some of the principal, and it confuses a lot of people. But when you're desperate, you don't know what else to do, and you can't afford the payments, it sounds better than what you've been doing, and that's the problem, and that's why they pitch it and sell it like that. Mm-hmm. And then they use that the psychology of, oh, you're screwed, and oh, by the way, we've got this lifeline for you. And then people, for what they think are lack of better options, they go for it.
One of the things I'd like for people to do is turn the offer over and read the fine print on the back. The offers that concern me the most are the ones that on the front look like they're just a straight offer for a loan. But then you turn it over and you look at the back and it generally says, we are not a lender and we are not a loan broker.
Yeah.
So,
or almost say, this is not like the front will say, this is a loan. The back will say, this is not a loan.
I wish that people would just take an extra 30 seconds to look at the offer before giving up their personal information.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many clients come to me after they've gone through this, and a lot of them enrolled in these debt settlement programs. And I end up having to explain to them what they got into because they don't even fully understand it. That some of them even still think it's a loan, and they're making these payments to this company thinking that it's some kind of debt consolidation loan. And it's gotten to the point now where it's so bad, and there's just so many companies that do it, I don't even need to see the actual documentation anymore. I can just listen to the explanation from the client as far as what happened, and I can say, oh, well, then here's what you're in. I don't even need to see the documentation to tell you that you did not get a loan. You got into a debt settlement program. Here's what's going to happen. And most of these people just have like this epiphany. Like when I tell them what they got into, that was never explained to them. They have no idea what they actually got into.
Well, here's the funny part is that, so people feel, even myself, we all feel stupid when we're talking to somebody on the phone and we don't really understand what they're saying. I mean, nobody likes to say, wait a minute. They should. We all should say, wait a minute. I don't understand what you're saying. So just yesterday, someone sent me a call to one of these companies. And it was a recorded call, yeah. And the salesperson is explaining the program. Damon, I'm a consumer debt expert. I didn't have a clue what the guy was saying. I don't think the guy understood what he was saying. So it's okay. If something doesn't make sense, it is absolutely okay to say, hold on, please explain it to me so I can understand. The call I heard yesterday was actually for student loan relief, where the salesperson was saying that he needed your information so he could log into your FSA account.
Here.
Didn't even know the right acronym.
Well, and the biggest thing, and once you get past the mailer and then you get on the phone, you just have to realize at this point it's going to be 100% true. If you get an unsolicited offer and then you get on the phone with somebody, who doesn't matter who it is, that person is not there to help explain what you got offered. They're there to sell you what you're being offered. It's typically not going to be, I don't know, professional is thrown around very loosely these days, but it's going to be a guy or gal that sits there all day long and takes phone calls from people that respond to these mailers, and they have their script, and it doesn't matter what your situation is, they're going to go through their script and try their best to explain what it is they're trying to sell you through their own eyes, because most of the time they don't even know what they're trying to sell you. So don't make the mistake of thinking these people are there specifically to help you figure out how to solve your problem. They're there to sell you whatever that thing is, and they're taught to explain it in the way that is typically, confusing at best, or, a rosy version of what it is they're selling you, but they're not going to give you all of the specifics and all of the details and, oh, you could get sued if you do this, or this could happen to you, or this could happen to you. That's a problem for somebody else, because their only job is to get you to say yes and send money. So as long as they can get you to do that, whatever else they don't tell you is your problem.
And here's something that I struggle with. A company will contact me and say, but we do make loans, and yet their offers look very similar. And so the question is, how can somebody tell a legitimate offer from an illegitimate offer without grilling the person on the phone and asking lots of questions?
Well, I think you alluded to this at the very beginning. A real lender with the intent of giving you a consolidation loan is not going to have a backdoor debt settlement option at the ready on the call. They're going to say, I'm sorry, you don't qualify for this loan because, or they'll say, you'll get a Dear John or a Dear Jane letter in the mail that tells you why you're not good enough for us or whatever it is. But if it's legitimate, they're not going to have a backdoor, better option, and here's how it's going to work and no interest. Once they get into that, your best bet, just hang up the phone. You don't even need to explore it. I can already tell you it's a debt settlement pitch. It doesn't mean that maybe a debt settlement strategy is wrong for you. It just means that now you need to stop, take a step back and say, wait a minute, I went into this with the mindset of I was going to get a consolidation loan and I was prepared for that. Now I'm not going to get this consolidation loan. What's this debt settlement thing that they're going to try to pitch me? Maybe if I don't fully understand that, I need to do some research on debt settlement and debt settlement companies and how that works. And that research is not going to get done on the phone with that salesperson. So just politely say thanks, no thanks.
So here's an alternative solution is I have proposed to some companies, hey, why don't you, if you're going to start with the loan pitch, I get that, but why don't you put on the letter that the consumer is responding to that if they don't qualify, you are also going to potentially offer them this, this, and this. And the response that I've heard is, you know what, that's going to lower response rates.
Well, honestly, I don't know if it would lower response rates because, unfortunately, most people don't read fine print. They just see the big stuff that sounds good, unfortunately. and they call, and I mean, they're looking for a solution. So it makes them susceptible to believing whatever this person is saying because it sounds better than what they're doing, unfortunately.
All right.
But I mean, it's a step in the right direction. I would agree.
Yeah. It's difficult when you're talking about dealing with personal finances and getting out of debt because on one hand, we could talk about all the fantastic ways to save money and change services and do all the other stuff. On the other hand, the people that are coming to us and asking us questions, sending me questions through getoutofdebt.org, and contacting you are people who are already deep in a situation and are looking for help out. They're not thinking ahead about what happens if I ever get in this situation. They're deep in it and panicking and making questionable decisions.
Yeah,
so,
I've been there. And go ahead.
No, I mean, I've been there too. And it's embarrassing. It's shameful. You don't know who to talk to. It's not like you can get together with the neighbors and a bottle of wine and talk about your financial failure or something, Yeah. And so people kind of tend to drift towards the most magical message they can find and the person that's going to give them the rosiest outlook.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I always tell when consumers call me for help, I always say, look, there's no judgment here. How do you think I became an expert at this stuff? I mean,
right. All the good people have it. Yeah, all the good people have lived through it.
Yeah, I've got a finance degree, but I didn't learn any of this stuff in school. That was a waste of money as far as I'm concerned. But the only reason I'm so good at all this stuff and I know all this stuff is because I've lived through it multiple times, not just one. Trust me, whatever you're going through, I've gone through it, and that's how I know what you're facing and what you're going to be looking at. So I like to joke about it and be lighthearted about it, and I know it's a serious subject, but I find adding that levity to it really helps people to open up and talk about it and just know that I'm not sitting here judging you and, well, you should have done this and you should have done that. Whatever happened, happened. Now it's just about where are we at today, where are we trying to go, and what options do we have available to get there? And
I'm not judging you. My motto is there's no sense dying all tensed up. So let's just take a deep breath here. Let's figure it out and come up with a plan rather than just react. But one of the things that people are reacting to, we have 4 minutes left. One of the things people are reacting to is they get an offer. They're getting one of these offers most likely because they do have some credit issues, and their FICO score is not all that good. Last time we did talk about FICO scores a little bit, but again, I would like to reiterate that a FICO score is not a score of how well you're managing your money. It is a marketing score that's generated to see how much access you have to new money and at what rate.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have time to get into it, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, FICO is just a scam. It's a way to get more money out of people that don't know how the FICO system works. And there's ways that you can actually, I don't know if manipulate it is the right word, but it probably is, but use that score to, your advantage to give yourself the best chance if you do need to get a new loan. I mean, there's ways to swing your FICO 100 points sometimes. I mean, it's crazy that everything within a month. Exactly. It's just crazy that everything is based on this score that can swing so wildly depending on where you pull it and what you do 30 days ago. It's ridiculous.
All right, Damon. Hey, we finished another podcast, and thank you so much. I appreciate your input. We're going to have to get you a better microphone. Since I sent you that new chair last time, the one that didn't squeak. Oh, wait a minute. What? I didn't send you a new chair, did I?
Am I too far from the mic? Is it not picking up?
No, it's kind of echoey, but that's just ambiance.
What if I got in like this?
Oh, that's a little bit better. But now we got an eyebrow camera.
All right, I'm here to do the podcast.
That is excellent, by the way.
I need to get one of those popper things that you have.
Yeah. Just get actually, if you want to do the cheap one, it's just you bend a coat hanger and put a pantyhose over it. That's all.
Well, that would be fine, except we're doing video.
Yeah, well, it deals with a certain crowd. That's all.
not our target audience, Steve.
Speak for yourself. This is Steve Rode, your Get Out of Debt guy. If you want more advice or you want some free help, be sure to visit me at the getoutofdebt.org website. And while you're at the site, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast for even more practical tips and advice.